Hello everybody and welcome to another tutorial on this beautiful machine, the Rc505 Mk2. Woo! Today we're going to be doing a sidechain compression, which is basically when you get a synth to duck underneath a bass kick. And it's what makes the pump of dance music. I'll do a demonstration by turning it on with these effects buttons. You'll see we're turning on B and C here. So you can see when I turned on these two effects here, which turned on B and C up here, that created that pumping effect that you get from a lot of house music and anything 4 on the floor. We're using two different effects to do that today. The first one is, everyone should be familiar with this because it's so powerful. This is the step slicer. So this has a rate of just an 1/8 note, and that means that we're cutting the time in between every kick into 2 equal bits. So we have 2 steps, which is those 2 bits I just talked about. And the length of them is both 100. The important part is the level of the first one is 0, and the level of the second step is 100. So with just this step slicer playing, you get this kind of a thing. So you can see it's really like just flipping from on, off, on, off, on, off. And we want to get that pump, that wow, wow, wow. To do that, we're going to, over here on C, we're going to use slow gear, which is an effect I don't see many people using, and I don't really know if many people found applications besides this, but this is a really good application of it. We're going to put the sensitivity somewhere around 30 to 50, and we're going to put the level at, in this case, 100, and basically this is just makeup, because if I leave the level at 50, and I go from the chords fully playing to the chords side-chained, when they get side-chained, they drop in volume. So this level is here to compensate. We're going to put it up to 100, and that way, that and are at the same volume. The important thing here is your rise time. So when this is set really, really low or even 0, you still get that turn off and turn on again sort of thing. But this is basically kind of like your attack knob on a synthesizer, if you've ever used one. At really small bits, like let's say 10, you're just going to take the harshness of the on and off. What's a good way to say it? I'll just let you listen to it. So you can see it's rising very fast. Now if I put the rise time up to, say, 50, it takes a little tiny bit longer to actually reach its maximum volume. So basically the rise time is the amount of time it takes the signal to go from 0 to its maximum volume. If you set this much higher, the entire rise doesn't have a chance to take place before the next kick happens, and it just kills your volume. So that higher rise times could be useful in slower music, but if you're doing a around 128 BPM house beat, you're going to want this somewhere between maybe 50 and 30, or if you want a very subtle effect, around 10 or maybe even less. So that's the basics of it. Essentially what the slow gear effect does, because I haven't really heard many people talk about it, so I'll just say a couple of words on it. It detects when your signal goes below a certain level, and when it does, it drags the gain down basically infinitely. It cuts it off, and then it lets it ride back open. That sensitivity is how low your signal has to get until it rises back up again. If you do really low sensitivities, nothing happens because it's turned off, the sensitivity is. If you do 100 cents, that was fine there, but you can get some weird things happen where it's so sensitive, natural fluctuations in your original signal will trick it into thinking that it just dipped volume again, and you'll get, instead of a womp, 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 you'll get like a kind of thing. So you need to dial this sensitivity into an amount that works with whatever you're trying to do. For this case, I think I had it set on 30, but anywhere between 30 and 50 is pretty good. And I had a rise time of 30. So the important thing about this is you have to put your step slicer before your slow gear, because the slow gear is turned on and off by the step slicer cutting out the first eighth note of your signal. That might have got a little bit wordy. I'm sorry if you couldn't follow it. But this side chain can also be done with the tremolo effect. This is the way that people did it on the original Rc505 because there wasn't a step slicer. I don't like it as much because it's not as deep. I'm not going to go into details about it here. Christoph has a video actually on how to use this tremolo. He's a lot better than me. Go over to him. That's Christoph Sevens or whatever his YouTube channel is. He has some really good tutorials. Totally check him out, even though most of them are for the original Rc505. They can still kind of translate over. Anyway, I hope this proved useful to someone out there, and if you have any questions, shoot them down in the comments, and if you think I should cover anything, any effect or any kind of thing in particular, let me know. Anyways, thanks everyone. Ish.